Honor and privilege to be here. Flew in from the East Coast of Canada because that gentleman means the entire world. I was raised in a bucket dungeon in the heart of a stampede. I learned to walk in a squared circle without bird kings and thieves. Had my shoulders pinned by giants in the middle of a mat. A tango champion titans, and I don't make those titans tap. But I'm a sharpshooting hitman running on the ropes in the interstates. I beat a dead man walking the nature boy in a Texas rattlesnake. From New York to Atlanta and back home to Calgary, I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Now this side of me, I'm break the man when the devil makes a deal. With a magic trick and a heartbreak kid, there's a soul they're gonna steal. The fortune favors faces, time won't all heals. There's more to me than you'll ever see. I mean, networks is real. And I said, I'm a sharpshooting hitman running the ropes in the interstates. I beat a dead man walking the nature boy in a Texas rattlesnake. New York to Atlanta and back home to Calgary, I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Oh, pink and black and wraparound shades on your Monday night TV. What a sight on the grandest night to bring a screaming stone to bleed. Oh, that swerve, the double turn with a razor in my teeth. I gave my bones, my heart, my soul. I gave you something to believe. An animal and a bulldog, a cannon and a coon. I'm the last man standing by a dark and dusty room. I wrestled with my legend, I wrestled with my name. I wrestled every demon, but it's my shadows I can't tame. But I'm a sharpshooting hitman running all the ropes in the interstates. I beat a dead man walking the nature boy in a Texas rattlesnake. From New York to Atlanta and back home to Calgary, I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there will be. Said I'm the best there is, and the best there was, the best there ever will be.
And now let's take a special look at what made Bret Hart so excellent.
The late Lou Thesz was a master of his craft, a versatile performer that carried the championship proudly and laid claim to a body of work that is still discussed today. We are proud to present the 2026 Lou Thesz Award to the excellence of execution, Bret Hart. From Calgary's legendary dungeon to the main events of WrestleMania, Bret's artistry was unmatched. He revolutionized the industry with timeless body of work that remains a textbook for greatness. to his heart. And tonight, his journey brings him home to the family that honors wrestling's greatest treasures. It is our distinct privilege to officially welcome you into the sanctuary of respect. Welcome to the Ring of Friendship and Cauliflower Alley Club, all over.
Somebody who was a recipient herself of this very award last year, and Bret's niece. Please welcome Nappy Knight.
Everybody's been so patient. You guys are doing amazing. I wish I had some of that tequila that Ray was talking about. I got you. And Jimmy Hart. Jimmy wearing his Hart Foundation t-shirt, showing it off. We're all wondering what moisturizer and skincare products Jimmy's using because he does not age. What a great honor it is for me to present the Lou Thesz Award. This is an award that I got last year, and it's an award that means a lot to anybody that loves professional wrestling. When I wanted to start wrestling, my Uncle Bret at first tried to talk me out of it. He was worried for me. He said the Hart legacy is a hard one to follow. Well, I'd just like to point out that I received this award last year, so who's following me now, Bret? I had tried walking in your shoes for this long now, you better walk in my high heels. I am just kidding, of course. This is a fitting place to say that the only thing that will top being honored last year is being asked to induct Bret Hart this year. He is my uncle, and he's also my hero. Right at the start and all the way to this very day, Bret has always been there, even when he was miles away. When he and my dad won the WWE Tag Team titles when I was just a kid, I used to think that wrestling was about winning championships. But now that I'm a little older and wiser, I see that a career isn't measured by the golden win. It's remembered by the principles that you never lose. Bret was and is a very rare breed. And when he was beloved on both sides of the curtain, he was the one who the fans watched, but the wrestlers studied. He was the magician that made the other magicians believe, and he did it with pride and honor. He took his love for wrestling and storytelling, and he ushered in a new era at the time the business really needed it. Just like Lou Thesz himself, Bret believed the champion should be able to wrestle anyone, anywhere, and any time. From Diesel to Steve Austin, from 1, 2, 3 Kid to Owen Hart, from Yo-Yo Hero to Macho Man Randy Savage. Any style, any size, any time limit, Bret Hart was going to make art. Because he was a true artist. We believed because he believed. They say you can't pick your family, but in a world full of uncles, I'm sorry, Ross, or a locker room full of wrestlers, I would pick Bret Hart every single time. Ladies and gentlemen, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret the Hitman Hart.
so much to me. To me, this is one of the true highlights of my career. I've had many honors bestowed on me. How I was voted one time the 39th greatest Canadian of all time. And back in the 80s, I was voted the sexiest man in Canada twice. All the title belts, the trophies, the plaques, even medals. But in the heart of heart, in my heart of hearts, this will stand as one of my highest and most meaningful awards of my career. Maybe it's because it's been my life. My life. I'm sorry, let me start again. I can't read it. Maybe it's because it's been my life, my entire life. And I feel more and more every day that I walk in my dad's shoes. To me, wrestling was everything. All day, every day. I was fascinated by wrestling probably from the time I was 5 years old. Killer Kowalski was the first heel to terrify me. But then I'd go downstairs into the dungeon where he and a bunch of wrestlers were drinking carrot juice and taking turns wrestling on the mat. He was nice. Soon I was earning my first income ever by selling wrestling programs at the Calgary shows. I sell all my programs and race to the timekeeper's table where me and my brother Dean were safe and could watch up close. All my brothers were fans, and we'd all take it in. In comparison to most wrestlers, most weren't fans as kids so much. For me, I was a real fan. You know, I remember as a kid, my dad would get all the boys. My mom would take care of the girls with the bath. There was always a bath night on Sunday nights. And 12 kids to 1 kids to wash off. But anyway, my dad would always herd us into one of the bathrooms in the basement. Actually, it was the kitty corner of the dungeon. And he'd scrub us all with showers, like shower for like 2 hours, and then all of us one after another until we were scrubbed clean until the next week. But the fun part for me was my dad we would lie in the middle of the mat in the dungeon, an actual dungeon where we in the hard house. And he had this big medicine ball, and he'd be on his knees, and then all the boys would run around in a circle in the dungeon. And he would take that bowling ball, it was like dodgeball, and he just square it up. Whoever got clipped by the ball would knock you out under your feet. But I remember for me, it was so much fun just running around in a circle all the time with my brothers. And I won a lot of times. You know, just a good memory for me as a kid. And I'll get back. Every Friday night from the time I was 5, I'd ride to the pavilion with my dad and most of my brothers. Little Owen was even born yet. Stu would pull up to a hotel and suddenly 4 midget wrestlers would climb in. Man, I thought this is the best day of my life. Being encouraged by the little beaver, I guess I pestered Irish Jackie a little too much. I think he got carried away and I got carried away and put him in a headlock. He clamped down on my knee with his hand and squeezed as hard as he could until I let go. It kind of hurt, but I stopped bugging him after that. When I remember these days, what often strikes me the most were the champions, the world champions. I really did watch Pat O'Connor and Buddy Rogers wrestle. I became so immersed in wrestling. I watched Gene Kiniski and Lou Thesz. It was everywhere. It was everything to me. I tell people today to try going back and watch those greats that came before me. Kiniski, Kowalski, Buddy Rogers, Lou Thesz, Bruno Sammartino. A few years later, by the time I was 12 years old, Archie the Stomper Goldie replaced Killer Kowalski as our top heel. One night at the show, the Stomper attacked my dad, I watched from my seat behind the announcer table as he actually brutally attacked my dad and stomped on his arm over and over. It was hard for me to watch, as nobody ever smartened us to hard things up. And as they stretchered my dad out back to the dressing room, when I woke up the next day, my dad was casually cleaning all the dishes, and now he was wearing a cast on his arm. And within a few hours, it got so annoying I saw him carefully saw it off. I thought, oh good, my dad's getting better. But then there was a knock on the door, and my dad went frantically look everywhere where he put his cast and tried to slip it back on before opening the door. It was the milkman, who immediately inquired how Stu was doing. As soon as he left, my dad would take that cast off, and it was then that I realized that I started to understand pro wrestling. I think the topper for me was when one afternoon I was home watching Stampede Wrestling on TV. It was about 3 in the afternoon. It was just me and my mom inside. Nobody else was home. Stomper was on TV, screaming, yelling on the TV screen. In black and white, how he was going to come up to the Hart house and tear the house down brick by brick. And then he yelled, I'm going to pile drive Helen on the interstate. I'm going to kick all those Hart kids everywhere all around the yard. I could feel goosebumps go up my back. I looked at my mom and asked, what's an interstate? And then a few minutes later, my mom went back upstairs to her office. I calmly looked out the window and suddenly the Stomper pulled up in his crude yellow Corvette. The door kicked open and lo and behold, he climbed out of the car with this stern look on his face. Uh-oh. He said he was going to pile drive my mom. I frantically raced upstairs to warn her, but she grabbed an envelope off her desk and bravely skipped down to confront him. But again, much to my surprise, she put on her furry slippers, and wearing only her nightie. She opened the door and stunned me by saying, hello, watch. Oh, darling, here's your check. He graciously took it and gave my mom a little hug before he left. This was the final straw for me. Maybe wrestling's not real. Boy, if you could see the little wheels turning around in my head at that moment. I can talk all night about my childhood and my love of the wrestling business. As a true fan, the world champions made the deepest impression on me. Just a few days ago, we lost one of the all-time greats in Dory Funk Jr. When I was 14, Dory Funk came up to the Calgary Stampede. He wrestled Billy Robinson, the best pro wrestler to come out of England at the time. Two masters who literally reinforced my love of great wrestling by blending American and British styles and putting on a one-hour classic, unlike anything I've ever seen before or since. When the Stampede ended that year, I'd become so mesmerized by Dory Funk, and I was thrilled when he invited me and my brothers Bruce and Dean to come visit him in Amarillo, Texas. A few weeks later, we drove all the way down to Dory's house. We stayed with him and his family, and he impressed me so much. He acted like a champion with everything he did. I saw the door open and the curtain pulled back even more. I'm proud to say that I loved Dory Funk, and I'll miss him greatly. I'll say that in my opinion, he was indeed one of the greatest of all time, inside and outside the ring. I never met anyone who carried himself with more class and dignity. He acted like a champion, the way wrestlers greeted him, talked to him, talked about him, to see how many wrestlers imitated him, his style. He was second to none. He was the world champion because he was the best, and everyone knew it. He made me believe it To be a world champion, to carry that belt, he can work with anybody with any style. I watched Dory Funk blow the roof off the building, wrestling Abdullah the Butcher. I stare up at Dory Funk and tell myself, I want to be him someday. I was slowly being pulled into wrestling, realizing that Dory was the second generation son of a wrestler. If he could be a great, maybe I could be the same thing for my dad someday. Dory was Texas State Amateur Wrestling Champion. So when I came home and went back to school, I pushed myself to win the city wrestling championships because he did. Then there was Jack Briscoe and Hardy Race. Hardy was another wrestler that pulled that curtain back for me. Like Dory, he invited Bruce and Dean and I to come visit him in Kansas City. To be a teen riding in a car listening to Dory, Terry, or Hardy speak of the business was such an education. I soaked it up. I would someday have the honor of wrestling both Dory and Hardy. And near the end of my career, it was me as world champion wrestling Terry Funk and honoring him. There was one Stampede week when Terry Funk went out clubbing with me and my brothers. I was about 20 years old. It was an all-nighter. Terry ended up crashing out in my bed upstairs at the top of the hard house. I got up early in the morning from the Stampede parade. I noticed my dad pacing around a little bit and he started to freak out. Terry didn't check into his room last night. I don't know where he is. He's gonna miss the parade. I calmly looked at him and said, Terry's upstairs in my bed. Even with a hangover, Terry sat through a 3-hour parade in 90 degrees and went on to have an amazing match with the Stomper that night. I guess my point is that I understand that it was a tough life being a wrestler, especially a world champion. As a young wrestler, I had a chance to wrestle greats like Nick Bockwinkel, Antonio Inoki, Fujinami, all class champs, and I never get to be champion until I was as good as them. I never expected to be a world champion 7 times, but when I was, I never forgot my predecessors. I like to think that they passed me the torch. When the Montreal Screwjob happened, it was first Dory, then Hardy, and then Pedro Morales who all called me to ask me what happened. They all told me I did the right thing, and that the situation, under the circumstances, was the best thing I could do in that situation. Dory said he was proud of me. That's what stands out the most to me now. The pride in the work, the toughness, the imagination, the trust, and the respect. They paved the way for the rest of us today in pro wrestling. I stand here before you solely in honor of those great wrestlers that came before me and taught me everything. I know what it's like to wear a gold medal around my neck. I know what it's like to wrestle full blast for an hour. I know what it's like to lose by 1 point. I know what it's like to strap on a knee brace, to strap on a world title belt. I've bled. We carry the lives we've imagined, and we carry the lives we have. And sometimes a reckoning comes of all the great champions we've lost. I say for all of you tonight, see your dreams and live them. To CM Punk, Cody great to see Brian Blair, a great wrestler. It's great. It's always great to see Cowboy Bob Orton, one of the greatest wrestlers that ever put on a pair of boots. Jimmy Hart, so many great memories here. Dan Spivey, one of the toughest guys there ever was in wrestling. That's getting me with honest. It's a tough son of a gun right there. As tough as they come. And I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to I want to thank Adam Baldwin for a beautiful song. I will say, we all owe this to Mike Berserk. And I remember when I was about 15 years old, he walked into the Victoria Pavilion where the wrestling was. And I already walked up to me and I said, I don't know. He goes, who am I? I said, you're Mike Berserk. And he couldn't believe it that I know. I actually looked at black and white wrestlers and stuff like that. But I remember I went and he asked me to get my dad, and I just brought it back to the wrestling. But for me, it was this, I had the pleasure of this meeting and knowing and recognizing Mike Mazzurki, who made all this happen so many years ago. And the CAC is something that I think all wrestlers appreciate, especially the wrestlers that have hit tougher times, harder times. And it's a very special thing that, which is the biggest reason I'm here, and I think the biggest reason my father used to be here every year, was because it gives back to a lot of those wrestlers that gave so much. So this is a really worthy cause, and it's one of the most important causes that charities for the wrestlers. And I thank all of you for being here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for honoring me with this award. God bless.